Namaskaram! Welcome back to my mythology channel. How are you? Hope you're doing well. I'm back with another video, and as I said in my previous video, this will also be about Krishna's various marriages, and it also has a lot of battles in it. You'll also get an insight about some of Krishna's sons and grandsons. So, coming back to Vishnu's Dashavataram, title is Krishna the Victorious. As I said, he is victorious in all those battles. So we pick off right where we left off in the previous video. Shukadeva is narrating to Parikshit the tale of Krishna. And this is what he was saying. So Krishna, accompanied by Satyaki and the other Yadavas, paid a visit to Indraprastha to meet the Pandavas. The Pandavas loved Krishna, absolutely, and of course they gave him a warm welcome. Krishna embraced his favorite Arjuna, and Kunti was filled with tears of joy. And they had a discussion like how Krishna was happy that the Pandavas survived the burning house of lac. Well, that's a story in the Mahabharata. Since it's a part of the Mahabharata and not a part of the Puran, I won't be telling it here. Okay, anyways. So on Yudhishthira's insistence, Krishna agreed to stay in Indraprastha, which was their current capital. He stayed there for quite some time. One day, when he and Arjuna were hunting, Arjuna was feeling tired, so they stopped to drink water from a lake. Suddenly, Arjuna spotted a maiden doing penance. He walked over to her and asked her who she was and why was she doing penance. She replied, "I am Kalindi and I am Surya's daughter. I want to obtain Lord Vishnu as my husband, so I am doing this penance. My father has also built a house for me in this river. I have vowed to remain here until I behold Krishna, who is an avatar of Vishnu." Arjuna went back to Krishna and conveyed what Kalindi had said. So he took Kalindi with him to Yudhishthira's palace. Now, under Krishna's request, the great Vishwakarma, the architect of the Devas, built a beautiful city for the Pandavas. Now, once Arjuna saved a demon called Maya from the wrath of Krishna, when Krishna and Arjuna saved, sorry. Okay, Arjuna, he and Krishna were asked in a favor to the Lord Agni. They had actually helped burn the Kandava forest and stop Indra from raining it. But that's another story. I won't be telling it here. That's also part of the Mahabharata. So, in Maya, who was the architect of the Asuras, was grateful to Arjuna. So in return, he built a beautiful hall for Yudhishthira. Now, after a few months of staying there, Krishna said, "It is time for me to return to my own home. Please let me go." And he was allowed to go by the Pandavas. Once he reached Dwaraka, he married Kalindi. Now, Mitravinda, the princess of Ujjaini, wanted to marry Krishna. But her brothers did not allow her to do so. They were allies of Duryodhana. But however, Krishna realized Mitravinda's love for him, so he went and kidnapped her. Now, King Nagnajit of Ayodhya wanted to marry his daughter away, but he wanted to only marry his daughter Satya to the person who would have the strength to control 7 ferocious bulls. So Nagnajit now decided to hold a ceremony where all the kings were invited for the hand of Satya, which was his daughter. Now a messenger reported to them about Lord Krishna's arrival. Satya too, like Mitravinda, had set her heart on Krishna. And Krishna immediately was received warmly by King Nagnajit. And Krishna told he wanted to marry Satya. Nagnajit said, of course, I can't find a more brave person than you, O Lord of the universe. But you will have to prove your strength. And he showed them the 7 bulls and explained the contest. Now, on the day of the contest, Krishna split himself into 7 forms. And, like a child pulling a toy, he controlled the bullocks with ease. He married Satya with due pomp. And he went away with his army back to Dwaraka. But the kings who wanted Satya's hand wouldn't let him go so easily now. So they attacked him. But just in time Arjuna came and he fought off all of the kings and he let Krishna go. Because of course Arjuna and Krishna are dear friends. They are avatars of Nara and Narayana. Krishna is Narayana and Arjuna is Nara. They have been friends in many lifetimes. In fact, Arjuna has also accompanied Krishna and some of his Dashavataras, but in another form, of course. Now, back to Parikshit and Shrutadeva. Shukadeva said, apart from these 2 princesses, Krishna also married Bhadra, the daughter of his aunt Shrutakirti. And Parikshit asked, so he had 8 wives? No, replied Shukadeva. He married thousands of beautiful princesses whom he saved from the clutches of Narakasura, an evil Devata. I will tell you his story. Once Lord Indra sought Lord Krishna's help because he needed help in defeating the evil Narakasura, or also known as Bhaumasura. Narakasura had conquered heaven. He had also stolen the earrings of Mother Aditi. If you know who, I have told who is Mother Aditi in Vamana Avatar. She is the mother of the Devas. And not only that, this vile Narakasura had also stolen the umbrella of Varuna. So, on Indra's request, Krishna set out on Garuda, his ride, his vehicle, his breath moving outside his body. And he also went with his wife Satyabhama because she loved him and she really wanted to go with him. So, they reached the capital of Narakasura in Pragyotishapura. Now Krishna saw a range of mountains surrounding the city like a formidable fortress. Krishna did not despair. He took up his mace and hurled it at the peak of mountains, and they were instantly destroyed to pieces. Next, he took up his bow and arrow and slaughtered many demons of Narakasura. Now, at last, he took out his famous Sudarshana Chakra and hurled it. It destroyed the barriers of water, fire, and also tore up the dragnets made by Mura, the gatekeeper of Narakasura. Now Mura, who was sleeping underwater, heard a sound like thunder and woke up. But it was none other than Krishna blowing on his conch shell, Panchajanya. Now immediately Mura, the 5-headed Mura, rushed out with his trident and he hurled it at Garuda. but Krishna's arrows cut the trident to pieces. Now Mura took up a mace, but Krishna destroyed the mace with his arrows. The roar which echoed from the 5 heads of Mura was so ferocious that the whole world shook. Now he rushed to Garuda to attack him, but Krishna was swifter than him. He took out his Sudarshana Chakra once more and hurled it at Mura and killed him, beheading all 5 of his heads. Now the 7 sons of Mura tried to attack Krishna, but Krishna killed them all. Now Narakasura himself was very angry. He has destroyed Mura and his sons. I cannot let this wild Krishna get away. He dares attack me, the great Narakasura. So he arranged his army of hundreds of elephants and went to fight with Krishna. Now Krishna started raining arrows on the elephant army, and Garuda too climbed on the elephants and killed them. The elephants soon could not withstand the combined attack and they ran away. But Narakasura alone remained in the field. He threw a spear at Garuda, but Krishna destroyed it. Now Narakasura knew it was the time to kill Krishna. He took up his trident, but Krishna was faster than him. He hurled his Sudarshana Chakra once more and beheaded Narakasura, thus putting an end to that wild creature. Now Bhumi Devi, who was the mother of Narakasura, emerged from the earth, and she presented the earrings of Mother Aditi and the umbrella of Varuna. She also showed him the son of Narakasura, Bhagawat. So Bhagawat was trembling, of course, but Krishna comforted him and blessed him. And then only he entered the palace. Now I'd like to add one fact. The day Narakasura was killed is still celebrated today in India as Naraka Chaturdashi. Now when he entered the palace, there were thousands of beautiful maidens. To be exact, there were 16,000. So, and they all were imprisoned by that cruel Narakasura. But Krishna set them free. But all of them had one desire only, to marry Krishna. Krishna learned their minds and arranged for palanquins that would carry them to Dwaraka. Now Krishna with his wife Satyabhama went to Indraloka, and he presented the earrings of Mother Aditi and the umbrella of Varuna to Lord Indra. Now Satyabhama saw the Parijata tree in Indraloka, and she immediately fell in love with it. She wanted it. Krishna told Indra about this, but Indra's wife Sachi could not bear this. So Indra had to attack Krishna for her sake. But of course Krishna destroyed Indra's army, and Indra was forced to part with the Parijata tree. Now Krishna planted it in Dwaraka. Now the thousands of palanquins which had set out from Narakasura's palace had reached Dwaraka. And on an auspicious day, Krishna assumed 16,000 forms and wedded them all on the same day. Now, here is an interesting incident. Once when Krishna was relaxing and Rukmini was fanning him, Krishna thought that he could tease Rukmini a little. So he said, "Dear one, so many kings, rich and noble, vied with one another for your hand in marriage. Yet you rejected all your suitors and selected me, who is not your equal in any way. Why? Why did you accept me? See how we Yadavas have to take refuge in the sea to escape Jarasandha. We have no riches, no possessions. Surely you know that marriages should be among equals in wealth, social status, and age. Why did you plunge headlong into this alliance? Just on the basis of some false praise you heard about me. As for myself, I kidnapped you just to humiliate your brother Rukmi. Of course, none of this was true. Krishna loved Rukmini very much. But Rukmini, of course, didn't realize that. And she fell into a terrible swoon when she heard what Krishna had to say. Krishna realized he had gone too far. He affectionately climbed down in a trice and he wiped her tears. And she told, I know I'm not equal to you in any way, the Lord of the universe. But I want to serve with you till I die. Krishna said, I teased you just to hear that. And I did not do, I just did all of this because you look very lovely when you are agitated. Now coming back to Shukadeva and Parikshit. Shukadeva said, each of Krishna's wives gave birth to 10 sons each. Imagine that, 16,008 into 10. 16,080 sons. Can you imagine that? All in that palace. How vast would it have to be? So, now Shukadeva said, Pradyumna, aside from marrying Mayavati, whose tale I had narrated in the previous video, as well as the birth of Pradyumna and his story, he also married Rukmavati, the daughter of King Rukmi. Rukmi was none other than the eldest brother of Rukmini, who hated Krishna for marrying Rukmini. Now, even Parikshit was thinking the same and he asked, how did Rukmi allow this alliance? I thought he hated Krishna. And Shukadeva said, Rukmavati, the beautiful daughter of Rukmi, had the customary Swayamvara. She saw Pradyumna in the Swayamvara and fell in love with him and immediately garlanded him. Rukmi saw this but did not do anything because he thought that she has married the son of my enemy Krishna. But I will let her do this because it will make my sister Rukmini happy. But the other kings could not tolerate this. They attacked Pradyumna, but Pradyumna fought them all and killed them. In some time, Pradyumna's wife Rukmavati gave birth to a son called Aniruddha. Now here is an interesting tale about Aniruddha. Once there was a 1,000-handed Asura called Banasura. He one day saw Shiva dancing his Tandava and he immediately began playing music with his 1,000 hands. Shiva blessed him, saying that he would do anything for Banasura. One boon. Banasura said, I require nothing, my lord, except that you protect my city from anyone. And Shiva agreed. One day Banasura came to Shiva and told him, I am itching for a fight. Why, yesterday I even broke a peak of mountains because of my itching. Then Shiva shouted, you fool! When your flagpole falls, you will meet your match. Now Banasura was like, at last I can look forward to a good fight. Now Banasura had a beautiful daughter named Usha. One day she woke up from bed and she said, Dearest, where are you? Her companions asked her who it was. But Usha only said, no, it was just a strange dream. Now Chitralekha, who was one of Usha's trusted servants, immediately asked her about this. And she said he was very handsome. I really want to marry him. So Chitralekha said, I will draw pictures of all the kings and rishis. Now you should tell me who it is. So she started drawing rishi by rishi, king by king. Usha kept telling no, no, no. At last, she saw the photo of none other than Aniruddha, and she said, "Yes, he is the one." And Chitralekha replied, "He is Aniruddha, the grandson of Krishna. I will bring him to you in some time." Using her yogic powers, she brought Aniruddha to the capital of Narakasura, which was Shonitapura from Dwaraka. Usha and Aniruddha spent many happy days in Usha's heavily guarded palace. Now, after some days, the guards began to get suspicious. Usha had not at all come out from her palace, and they also suspected they heard a man's voice inside. They reported these suspicions to Banasura. Banasura immediately rushed into Usha's palace and was furious to find Aniruddha playing dice with Usha. He immediately imprisoned him with serpent bonds. Meanwhile, back in Dwaraka, the people are saying, "It's been 4 months now since Aniruddha disappeared. Where could he have gone?" At last, Narada appeared and he told them everything. Now, the citizens of Dwaraka were furious. They shouted, "On to Shonitapura! Behead that Banasura!" So, Krishna himself led the attack. And when they reached there, he was faced by none other than Lord Shiva and Lord Kartikeya. He said, "Satyaki, you take on Banasura. I will confront Shiva, and Pradyumna go fight Kartikeya." They did their respective roles. Now, Shiva is not an easy person to win with. It was a terrible battle between Krishna and Shiva. Krishna and Shiva were equally skilled and countered each other's weapons. At last, Krishna used his wit and thought, "I can use the Jurumbana Astra to make Shiva sleep." The Jurumbana Astra made Shiva so drowsy that he could not fight. Here's a funny picture of him saying yawn. Okay, now Narakasura, not Naraka, why am I saying that? Lol. Sorry, what's his name? Yeah, Banasura. Banasura himself rushed with his 1,000 hands to attack Krishna when he saw his armies being destroyed. He immediately started fighting Krishna. He shot thousands of arrows to Krishna using his 1,000 hands. But no matter how much Banasura sent, Krishna countered it all. Now Krishna destroyed Banasura's chariot, his charioteer, and his flagpole, which was prophesied by Shiva, that Banasura would meet his match. Now Banasura returned again, but this time Krishna was ready for him. He hurled his Sudarshana Chakra at him, and Banasura's 1,000 arms started to fall off like petals from a flower. But Shiva intervened. He said, "Banasura is under my protection, O Lord Krishna. Please do not kill him. Instead, just humble his pride." Krishna said, "Fine, I will humble his pride. I will spare all. I will only spare 4 arms of Banasura." And Banasura prayed to Krishna and let Usha go with Aniruddha. And Krishna returned with Aniruddha and Usha, and the two were happily wedded in Dwaraka. Now, a messenger came from King Paundraka to Dwaraka. He said, "My King Paundraka of Karusha has told you are the fake Vasudeva, oh Krishna. You are not at all Krishna. You think you're Krishna. I am the real Vasudeva. Give me your discus and other weapons right now. Give yourself up or fight with me." And all the citizens of Dwaraka burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha! What a silly man! He thinks he can fight Krishna. Wow, wow, wow." Now Krishna told, "Tell your king Paundraka I cannot hand over my discus and other weapons, but I shall personally kill him with my discus or Sudarshana Chakra. Now the messenger left and Krishna discussed with his ministers. The ministers said Paundraka was living with his friend, the king of Kashi. So Krishna, with his armed force, set out to Kashi, and he laughed when he saw the Paundraka. He was dressed exactly like Krishna, including the feather and the yellow garments. So now Krishna put his fury onto the combined armies of the king of Kashi and Paundraka. At last, Krishna told Paundraka, "Oh, Paundraka, you said you wanted my weapons, didn't you? Fine, here is my Sudarshana Chakra which you so dearly wanted." And he hurled it at him and he cut off Paundraka's head. Now he turned his attention to the king of Kashi. But after some time, Krishna shot successive arrows and beheaded the king of Kashi, and his head fell all the way to the gates of Kashi. Now the guards took it to the king of Kashi's son, Sudakshina, who was also the prince of Kashi. He vowed revenge against Krishna. He put his full concentration onto it. And one day, when he was performing a yagna, a fiery fiend emerged from it. And the fiend immediately rushed towards Dwaraka. The citizens were terrified, and they found Krishna playing dice with Rukmini in her palace. And they told him about it. Krishna barely even looked up from his game of dice. He said, "Don't worry, I will protect you." He took out his Sudarshana Chakra again and he hurled it. The Sudarshana Chakra, whirring menacingly, chased the fiery fiend to Kashi and beheaded him. And that is where I will be leaving you for this video. This is where Shukadeva concluded his narration for now. I will resume his narration in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching and please like, share and subscribe.